Hi, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio Network, where our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. As always, I have exceptional guests, and today I have another exceptional guest. My first guest in the beauty industry, actually. I don't remember interviewing anyone from the beauty industry, so I am excited to have with me today a multi-talented serial entrepreneur, Karen Pudetti, who worked for CPA firms, accounting firms. She is an advocate for ADHD. She has a TEDx talk. I recommend everyone to listen to it. She has a successful clothing line. I love the name of it, Badass Clothing Incorporation, which was started to build a foundation for ADHD children. She is writer and author of the book Rags to Riches, How Beauty Icons Made It Big. She is a top salon spa owner and consultant. She's owner of, do you pronounce it Lux Salon, Karen?
Yep.
Or Luxe?
Yeah.
Lux?
Nope.
Lux Salon?
Yeah.
Spa and Laser Center. And she's interviewed superstars in the beauty business industry. And I want to welcome Karen Pudetti, I hope I'm saying your last name right, to Chatting with Betsy.
Yes, you are saying my last name right, and hello.
Excuse me, everyone. Karen, I saw your book, and I talked to Karen folks before the show. I am a beauty, you never know by looking at me, but I am a beauty product addict, especially with hair products, because they didn't have hair products for curly hair when I was growing up. It was the straight hair was in at that time, not curly hair. So I'm glad to see people embracing their curly hair now. But when I ask you, what I ask all the guests is, what motivated you to write this book, which sounds fantastic.
Thanks. What motivated me to write the book was, first, I was a consultant for salons and spas around the United States. And I love doing that. I love going and finding out what the salon spa situation was, where they were financially, what their struggles were, what they were doing was great, and then trying to turn it around for them so that they could make a lot more money. And I loved doing it. I always felt like that I wanted to do more for the industry. Our industry is one of which where prior to COVID, 20% of the salons and spas wouldn't even make it to the 5th year. They would close between the 2nd and 3rd year. And then after COVID, 33% of all salons and spas closed. And we're the one industry that whatever money we take in for services, we pay half of that out for commissions or to pay the technicians. So there isn't any other industry that pays 50% of what they take in. So the profit margin is not as big as with many companies. So there's one. And only 1.7% of salons and spas hit the $1 million mark. And, these are really talented people. And really what generally happens is these people are phenomenal at their craft, whether it be hair, nails, laser, whatever it may be. And so they realize, geez, I could make a lot of money on my own working for myself. And then they go out and start a business. And what happens is they end up making a lot of money, but they're actually supporting the business. And they may not have the business smarts or the business sense to be as financially, to be financially where they want to be or could or should be. So I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, I love when I help people and I could see their lives transform. I love that feeling. And I thought, I need to do this on a bigger level. And I started thinking about, maybe I should write a book. But I didn't want just to write a boring book like do this, this, and this. And I thought, like, who's going to really listen to me? I kept thinking about it. And I kept thinking, I said, well, I need big names that, to tell their story. And that's how it started. I picked different people of all aspects of the beauty industry, and I wanted to hear their stories. So 1/3 of the book is about their stories, their struggles, their ups or downs. Then the second part of each chapter is an assessment. Where are you? And you could be just starting out, or you could be trying to hit the $1 million mark. It's just where are you at this point in time? And then the last part was, okay, what do you need to change right now to get your feet moving to be bringing in more money in the door? And it gives you the education of what you can and what you can do and how to do it. So it took me a while to kind of put it all together in my head so I could think, okay, now that's something I think people will enjoy. It will help people. So that's how it came about.
That's interesting. What do you think all of the people that you interviewed have in common? Is there a common thread with all of them?
Yeah. One thing is they were driven. They were passionate, and they were driven, and they didn't let anybody get in their way. They just kept putting one foot in front of the other. Sometimes they'd make mistakes or fail and then back up and redo it and figure out a different way to do it. But, yeah, there was first passion and then a drive. And they believed in themselves.
That's important.
Yeah.
That is important. I was watching the woman who created It Cosmetics last night. Mm-hmm. She has a new book out. Jamie, her name just escaped me. Well, first name is Jamie, her last name just went out of my head. But anyone who's watched QVC will know. I mean, she was a waitress, Denny's. She was driven. She had this drive. And then she, created this company and sold it to L'Oreal for a little over $1 billion. Wow. Like 1-point-something billion. She's it's an incredible story, but self-worth, feeling worthy, being driven, having this, I would assume believing in yourself when people are telling you, no, you can't do it, or it's not done that way, and you believe, well, maybe I'm the first to do it this way, and that's okay, and I'm going to do it this way and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I just, because you wonder, sometimes I wonder when I watch these people, like, how do they get started with their, business, doing their, the hair to the stars, being the hairstylist to the stars, how they even get involved with that?
Well, for instance, Matthew, Matthew is one of the people in my book, and his name is Matthew Collins, and that was one of his goals. He wanted to be a celebrity stylist. So that was his goal, and he knew it clear as day when he started. So he was really, really methodical in what he did. So he decided how he was going to get himself to the celebrity. So one thing he did is he kind of determined what his ideal or his niche client was. And we all should do this in any business. But a lot of people say, mid, 25 to 70, income of 50. I mean, and it's just so broad. It's not really a niche at all. And like in my book, I talk about the more narrowed down you can get on your perfect clients. When you get your perfect client and they connect with you, that will be your best advertisement than anything else. It's kind of like when you market to no one, when you market to everyone, you get no one. So Matthew, when he was telling me, he had like 3 pages of notes of what his ideal client, where they went to eat, what they did on the weekends, what they liked to read, what magazines they would read. And so he really narrowed it down. And then he thought, well, if I'm going to create my own buzz, how am I going to do it? So he started thinking he goes, I picked all my friends who were girls that were gorgeous, and I had them come over to my house, and they would come over, and he would do all their hair, and another friend of his would do all their makeup glamorous, and they'd all get dressed to the nines, and then they would go to the really in places to go, and he is out in L.A., and he would go, and they'd rent a limo, and they weren't going out really to party or drink, but he'd walk in with all these gorgeous girls all done up, and people would always say, oh, I love your hair, and they'd go, oh, this is my hairstylist, Matthew. And so he started getting kind of that same clientele and building it from there. And then lo and behold, celebrity heard about him. And then once one celebrity hears about him, another one hears about him, another one hears about him. And so, now today he works with all celebrities, and that's who his clientele is. So that's one thing he knew he wanted, and he was very methodical in doing it. He put a marketing plan together and went after what he wanted.
Now, Matthew sounds brilliant because he knew how to market himself. And I think that's so important to know, okay, this is the kind of client I want. Now, how do I market myself to get myself out there? He used a very smart method. What better way to market yourself than to show your work?
Absolutely.
And
and like a lot of people would hear that and kind of coward, like, oh, I got to get all these, do this, and then I got to go out. And most people would back down to almost like that challenge. But he said, nope, this is what I want. This is how I'm going about getting it. And no one stopped him and got in his way. That's amazing. You have to give, kudos to people who are very innovative and that know what they want and go after it. Absolutely.
That is incredible because when people, especially I would assume out in L.A., where it's very, very competitive, and if one celebrity has a hairstylist and they really like them, they probably want that hairstylist. Well, if she or he has that stylist, they look good, and then I want that stylist too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great idea. I think sometimes, and I'm not in the business field at all, Karen, so I'm just going to, my own opinion, I think a lot of people have difficulty marketing themselves. Like, how do I get my product out there? How do I get myself out there to be seen and heard? And I think sometimes people don't want to promote themselves, and you have to.
You're 100% correct on that. They want something, but they don't want to really promote themselves about it. And at some point, even I said, like, I wanted to write this book to help people, and then everyone says, well, how are you going to promote it? And I'm like, I was just going to hand it out. And they're like, well, you can only hand it out to so many people that know you or who are in your area. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I got to step up to the plate if I want to help people and let them know here's a product that can help you run your business. You got to really put get out of your own comfort level.
Yes. I have to tell you something funny. I thought this cracked me up. I interview a lot of people, and some of the guests, and I've heard this from other podcasters, people are selling a book or a business. and then they don't share or promote the show. Now, how does anyone expect to promote their book or business if you're not out there doing it? I had one guest tell me, I'm not on the internet. And I felt like saying, well, how do you expect to promote your book? How do you expect to promote your book then if you're not on the internet? You have to be, especially now. I would think more now than ever. You have to, be consistent. And it's consistency, isn't it, Karen, to be out there marketing yourself and promoting yourself, not just once in a while, but on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's got to be almost like a day. You have to do something every single day to keep moving forward. I truly believe with marketing and stuff like that. And that was one of the other things Matthew said at one point. He goes, you never stop marketing yourself. You always keep going. He says, because whatever, if you say you finally got to where you want to be and you're there, in 3 months the business can change, people can move away. He goes, it's continuous. And that's a mistake I see a lot of times as well.
Yes. I live in New Jersey, and a lot of businesses are going in and out. And I know during COVID, we couldn't get our hair done or nails done. And then after COVID, when things started to open up, businesses really had dropped for a lot of people in the hair and nail beauty industry. And I was thinking to myself, but what are you doing about it? I'm not like I said, I'm not a business person, but what are you doing, thinking to myself, to get yourself out there? And it's a shame because I see these new salons being, built, and I know it costs a fortune to get that done, especially here in New Jersey, and then they fold. Like they don't, as you said, they don't, maybe 3 years or less.
Yeah.
They do well, especially, in today's economy. And I just think that if anyone has a business, a book, a product that, you do have to get out of your comfort zone. But I think people aren't comfortable promoting themselves. I know I'm not comfortable promoting myself, but you just have to do it, because if you don't promote yourself, no one else is going to unless you hire a publicist.
Right. You're absolutely right at that. And it really, if you put all your time and effort and hard work into something, you gotta pay your dues and put yourself out there and just get out of your comfort zone and do it.
Can you tell me about the person who got famous with the nails?
Julie got very famous with her nails, or are you talking about Damone Roberts with the eyebrows?
Julie.
Yes. Julie, now she knew when she was young she wanted to be a nail artist. She knew, I think she at 9 years old, and she moved herself all by herself to New York City, and she started working with some friends, and then she kept wanting to do like cool different things, and she became very well known. And then there was one celebrity went there, and then another one, and then she was asked to go onto the red carpet with the big designers. And it would be funny, they would be getting ready for the red carpet shows and or the big Vogue runway events, and like someone would walk by like Versace and the team, and he'd say, I want stripes with that outfit. And so she came up with her book and printed or did out 10 different types of stripes, bulletin, and then the team would walk by her again, and she'd walk alongside them, and he goes, well, I like this one, but I want to change that and put those together. And she'd go back to her little area and come up with 3 designs based on what they said. And then, at another time, the team of everybody would walk by, and she'd walk up alongside him, which one do you want? He'd say, I like that one. Perfect. Let's go with that. So for every outfit, that's what she had to do. But because she didn't because she was quick, she figured out how to make them kind of walk by, get what the information she needed. They loved working with her because she was very independent, could come up with ideas, go back to them, not take up tons of their time, and she became very, very successful. And then when she was doing the red carpets, of course, her celebrity status grew, and now she actually goes around the world and trains people in some of the best spas all over the world on how to do your proper manicures and pedicures. But she gets right down to the molecular structure. I mean, she could tell you something about bonding that would blow your mind. So she was a professional of professionals.
That just thrills me. I remember watching one of the red carpets. This is years ago, and they were actually having a close-up camera on people's nails. I don't know who the person was, but they put their hands behind this curtain, and they were taking pictures of their nails, how beautiful they were decorated. Might have been Julie, I don't know, but I said, wow, that's incredible. When people find their niche and then just go with it, and I would think to run a business, Karen, you need a team. Did these people have a good team of support? You need a good bookkeeper, accountant, office manager.
And you know what? You are hitting one of the key elements to running a successful business. I tell people, you have to understand your numbers. You have to know where every dollar is going. You have to be able to read or know your P&L, your balance sheet. And again, because my background is accounting and finance, it comes easy for me, but most people in the beauty industry, that's the part they hate. So I tell people, instead of you struggling to figure it out, to do it, hire somebody who's an expert. Hire a bookkeeper, then hire a CPA, and have them do it for you and explain to you every line item and give them have them figure out or know your parameters, your back bar expenses should only be 5% of your sales, or your retail, you should only be ordering 50% of what you sold. And that's where a lot of people get into trouble. They don't do that. They think, well, I can do it, I'll learn it, but it's not their, so they spend more time trying to figure out and how to get it right than really just analyzing and really looking at the numbers and saying, well, we're going to need to cut this, we're going to need to cut that, we better invest in this. So that's one of the things in the beauty industry that why businesses don't succeed. They go into business and they really don't have a business plan. They don't know, from the start what they need, what their bottom line needs to make a profit. And there are months that you won't make a profit. So in the other months, you need to make X amount more money. So that is one of the key, I truly believe, is what you can't do well. Find somebody who can do it well for you and make sure that your business can support that, that person. For instance, I'm terrible at social media. I mean, I will never be good. I have all the accounts I'm supposed to have, and sometimes I'm like, how do I get back to my original account? And everyone's shaking their head at me. But I mean, it's just not my forte, and so I have a social media team that helps me, and they make that work for me.
Yes, yeah. Again, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village of support to run a business. I mean, even, doctors have a team of support to help run their practice. They can't do it themselves. And I would think that, you would want to make a profit. I think if I was running a salon, I would try to sell products, maybe not have as much products, like have a small amount and try to sell that. Or, you go to some of these salons and they have all these different brands. And, and they have too much. I would think I kind of like narrow it down.
Yes, I see that very often. I'll go in, and they don't have a huge clientele, but they have like $50,000 sitting in inventory on their shelf, just sitting there. And I'm like, oh, boy, that's not good. And then they don't, when they're doing their consultation or their haircut or, their facial, they don't remember, like, okay, half of the service that people need is what is their home routine, what is the regime going to be when they get home. If you want to keep this look up or how it's, this new haircut. And so you would be surprised at how much disconnect there can sometimes be.
You know what? I have noticed that, Karen, because if I was doing hair or nails or if I did, facials, manicures, I would try to sell the products I was using. And a lot of times I'll say, oh, what are you using? I'd like to buy that.
Yeah. If a client is asking that, then the person taking care of you is not doing their job, because it should be them that is informing them and doing that.
Yeah, that's what I would be doing. I would be like, okay, Karen, here's the product I used on your hair. This is the shampoo, conditioner, whatever it was, styling products. What would you like to buy today? Are you interested in buying something today? Called closing the deal. So I learned that when I was in retail.
Absolutely.
Not easy to do. Yeah, it's not easy to do that. It's not. And then you don't want to be like, there's that fine line, right, Karen, of trying to close the sale and close the deal, and then you're kind of afraid people might think you're being pushy. Right.
I always, and it's funny, when someone comes to me and I interview them and I hire them, whatever area, if they could be in massage, laser, hair, nails, the first thing we do is I teach them a proper consultation and how to greet somebody, how to greet them, how to have a consultation. And I always say, if this client doesn't need anything, then don't sell them anything. But they came to you for a reason. Many times they want to fix something or get help with something. You need to figure out what it is. If so, what product or products will help them get the results that they want.
Yes. And I have to say this because I've experienced this in retail stores. And if I had a business, I would tell my employees, do not judge people by the way they look when they come into your store or salon.
I agree with that 110%.
I have, encountered that in, I won't say the store's name, but it's a major store, and the people look at me. And, what? When I was in retail, I greeted everyone and treated everyone the same. You don't know who has money and who doesn't have money. I'm not saying I have money, but you know what? Treat me with the same respect that you treated someone else who's dressed to the nines.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't know if somebody came from a salon, right, and they just went into your store to buy something, or they took their kids to the gym. Maybe they couldn't get dressed properly because they're caring for a sick relative. You don't know. So
right.
I believe in treating everyone equally, show them the product. And I don't know if you had this philosophy, Karen, but I had it when I worked. I called it building bridges. They may not buy a product that day, but maybe they will later on. Maybe they'll say, oh, you know what, I'd like to save up for that, and, I'll come back. You just don't know. But you want that connection.
Yeah. And that's the perfect word, connections. I always tell people, you never know whether it'll be in here, at a restaurant, walking your dog, where you'll meet again. But if you have that connection, they'll remember you and you'll remember them. And that goes a long ways.
That's true. Maya Angelou, I think she said something like, people will remember how you made them feel. Yeah. And that is so true. I've had that happen to me. I used to work in a beauty product store. I won't mention the name. Then I had worked at another store, and this woman said to me, she goes, oh, I remember you from such and such a store. You were so nice to my daughter. And she, brought something, and then a woman, I was in pool therapy. This woman had a stutter. Nobody was patient with her. And she said to me, oh, I remember you. You were always so nice to me.
Aww.
So people do remember how you treat them. I remember how people treat me. I know you do, Karen. Everyone does.
Yep.
And that's why, if I could give advice, if you're in the sales world out there and you're listening, treat everyone the same. Don't judge a book by its cover, as they say, because you just don't know who you were talking to.
Exactly.
You really don't. And I'm not even, don't know anything about finances, running a business or anything. I just know how I want to be treated, and I always treated people how I want to be treated, always, because people will remember that. Even with, like children and, young children, young adults go into salons.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend, being nice to them. They'll go back and tell their parents, guardians, oh, so-and-so was nice. I'd like to buy this product. I know I might have to earn it, save up for it. You just don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? Especially when it comes to the young kids, if they go into a salon, they're intimidated. They don't know, what they're walking into, how they're going to be treated. So usually they're a little hesitant. But if you just make them welcome, they'll be, they appreciate that a lot.
Yes. And even I'm 65 now, but even an older person, if you want to consider me an older person, talk to me and, explain the products. And that's another thing I think people should do, Karen, in salons. Tell the person what you're using, what it's used for, because that's how you're going to sell the product and increase your sales.
Yep, absolutely.
That just makes sense.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. When we sell retail, I always tell them, first thing you say is this product is, XYZ, and it is good for your fine lines and wrinkles or hydration, whatever it is. The main ingredient in there is willow bark, which will reduce your puffiness around your eyes. So they know that you really know a little bit about the product, what its main ingredient is, what it does as well. So, and then people are like, oh, okay, instead of just saying, oh, this product is good for you, good luck. So, we do. We go through that. That's what, I teach my staff about every single product.
Yes, And I'll tell you what, if you have a product junkie like me coming into your store salon, I'm interested in what you're putting on my hair, and sometimes I want to buy it even though I have a whole bunch of stuff at home. And people kind of, laugh at me. Oh, Betsy, you're a junkie. I said, yes, I know, but I know it's terrible. But people, when they go into a salon to get their hair done, whatever service that they're looking forward to, I have to say they're really looking forward to that, and that's a treat for a lot of people. And it's a luxury, and they really enjoy that time. And I think if the person who's doing whatever service, that they take that into mind and say, I'm going to treat this customer, give it, everyone 100% service, explain the products, I bet that place of business, their clientele will probably go up, and so will their sales of their products.
Yes. It's funny. I tell my staff, and, when we're going through training of how to make the clients feel, the proper handshake and things of that nature, I tell my staff, you're going to pretend that this client coming in is the only client you have all day, and you're going to pretend that her son is the person you want to marry. So you're going to pull out all the stops and treat her like she's the queen. And they always laugh at me, but they get what I'm talking about when I say that.
Yes.
So, it's very, very true. So, that's my analogy to them of how they should treat every person.
Yes, and, these people that are in your book, I'm sure that their formula for success was just that. They treated people royally. They explained their products. They showed an interest in them, not just, I got to do this manicure. Let me slap this on and get it over with in 15 minutes because I have my next customer. But to make it a luxury experience so that person will come back and tell their friends.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I guess I'm a lot smarter than I think when it comes to business, Karen.
You definitely understand business.
I just, it's just incredible to me of when I see people, and especially like some of these stores where they're getting paid on commission only. I heard some stores just no salary, just commission only. I mean, I would be jumping everybody to pass by. Not pushy, but just, to be, acknowledge the customer and ask if I could, be of assistance and help them, not ignore them because they're not dressed a specific way. It's just crazy. My mother has, she had a friend, and this man could afford to buy an expensive watch, but he was doing something, so he wasn't dressed like he could afford this particular watch he wanted to buy. So he went to this jewelry store. He said, I'd like to buy this watch. I don't even know what brand it was. And the lady said to him, you can't afford to buy that. I'm not showing it to you. I would be like, wow. Call your manager. And I would have said, I want to see your, store manager, who's ever in charge, because I'm going to tell them about your attitude. And then I would have told the manager, you just missed on how much that watch was, because she thought I couldn't afford it because of how I'm dressed. And I can't afford it. I was just in work clothes. So don't judge people when they come into your store that they can't afford something.
No, definitely not do that.
Yeah, it reminds me of that scene in Pretty Woman where she's trying. She's in this luxury store. They want to wait on her, and then she goes to another store with richer gear, and then she comes back to that store, and she said, you earn commission? And they said, yes. Well, you wouldn't help me. Big mistake. big mistake. It's just all these packages. I love that. I love that that scene because it's so it's so true. What makes, Karen, if you could give words of wisdom as we end here, someone to have a successful business in the beauty industry? Because I'm sure it's very competitive and very crowded. What makes someone stand out?
First, make sure you really have the passion for it. Sometimes I think particular girls after high school, they say, well, I don't want to go to college, and, so, maybe I'll go to beauty school, and then they go only because it's like, oh, now what? If you go to beauty school because you have the passion, because in the end you won't stay with it if you don't love it and have the passion. So first have the passion, and then I would actually read books or watch podcasts or anything like that you can learn to make yourself a better person with people, a better person in sales. I would do as much as possible, and then again figure out your niche. Who is it that you want to work on? If you're a hairstylist, do you want to work on the young kids who want purple, green, and yellow hair, or do you want your ideal client to be your soccer moms? Exactly who is it that you're going to love and connect with, and then really be out there. Be out there. Look for your ideal client and hand them your business card and say, hey, if you have a hairstylist, that's fine. If you'd love just to come in and I can give you a free consultation with a free conditioning treatment. If you're interested, here's my card. Just keep and do it all the time to build a clientele, because no one's going to give it to you.
That's true. That's very true. Sometimes people think, people come my way, I'll manifest it. No, you have to go out and do the work and do it. And sometimes, you might have to do some work for free to advertise yourself.
Absolutely. And I tell people, anybody who comes in, they're new at something, I say, listen, bring your friends in. You can cut their hair for free. You can charge them minimal cost for color, and then that friend will tell a friend, and it gives you experience, and that's how we kind of start to build your clientele a little bit. Yes,
definitely. I could tell you this from my own personal experience. When COVID happened and, everything shut down, I wanted to go back to a hairstylist, and I couldn't. She was like way booked, and I couldn't get to her, and then I tried calling the salon. Well, fast forward, I finally reconnected with her. Took almost 4 years, but wow. I love the way she does my hair. She doesn't do it like anyone else. When you have curly hair, it really makes a big difference in getting a proper haircut. And I said, Lisa, I am not leaving. I'm going to make an appointment. I couldn't even get through to the salon to make an appointment. I had tried several times, and I said I'm making an appointment when I'm here for the next time. And it really, is a testament when people will travel to see you, where they'll, go out of their way. And, the best, I think, advertisement is really word of mouth. And again, that has to do with promoting.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Karen, where can people purchase your book, Rags to Riches, How Beauty Icons Made It Big?
You can go on Amazon and type in iconic, or go on to Amazon and do Rags to Riches, How Beauty Icons Made It Big, or you can go to the website www.iconicriches.com, Rags to Riches. And if you read the book and love it, there is a course that gives you even more information and can walk you through setting up your whole business plan as well.
Oh, that's awesome. And do you do that? I know you have your salon, but you also consult with other businesses and help them?
Yes, I do. And you can reach me by Pwdetti, Pudetti at Lux, LUXE, spa.com.
Awesome. I'll tell you what, folks. If I had a salon and I was struggling or I needed some help, Karen Pwdetti would be the person I would call because she is top in her field. She has been in this business, beauty industry, and accounting for many years, and she, as they say, not only talks the talk but walks the walk. Go to people who are experienced, not just could talk about it from book knowledge, but have actually are working in the trenches in it. Those are the people that I would go to for advice. And I really mean that when I say it, because it makes a difference. It really does. When people are experienced in their fields and they know what they're talking about, not just, book knowledge of, okay, let me read from this book here. Oh, no, I've lived this, so I could tell you both. That's the kind of people that I like that could help me. But that's my personal opinion. I want to thank you, Karen Pwdetti, for coming on today. I enjoyed talking to you so much.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed being on your show today. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. Folks, all the information about Karen Pwdetti will be in the blog that Jeanne White, the station manager, writes. So make sure you read the blog. And thank you to Jeanne for producing the show, writing the blog. And thank you to Lillian Cauldwell, CEO of Passion World Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you for listening, sharing, subscribing. And if you don't already subscribe to Chatting with Betsy, what are you waiting for? It's for free. It's on Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube. I have phenomenal guests on that can help you live a better life, that are wonderful resources and are experts in their field. I just really learn from every guest that I have on, and I really appreciate the guests that do come on, and I appreciate everyone listening. And please share the show so I can help more people, and I can only do it if you all help me, and I greatly appreciate it. And as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you can be anything, please be kind, shine your light bright, because if we all did that, it would be a much brighter kind of world. And if you want to follow me, I am on Facebook, Betsy, Betsy, middle initial E, last name Wurzel, Wurzel. Could drop me a line, connect with me on Facebook Messenger. I would love to hear from you and what you think. And you could go on any of the platforms I mentioned and do a review and leave a comment. I'd appreciate it. So thanks again, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio Network. Bye-bye now.